All right, happy day 3 of the EOC review. Today we are looking at the average rate of change between an interval. Now, the interval will be represented with brackets. So you may see bracket A comma B. The A and B will be actual numbers. So if it is the interval from 3 to 7, then that means that across the domain, we are looking at the values that occur between 3 and 7. So keep that in mind. That's number 1. Everybody understand how the interval notation is represented? Please put your cell phones up. If you're not paying attention, pay attention. A to B. So from 3 to 7 is what we will look at for the average rate of change. Everybody understand that? Part 1. Okay. Second part. The average rate of change is the change in the y over the change in x. So please put this on paper for us. This will be our day 3 notes. So here's my paper. Algebra, EOC, day 3. Today is the 17th. And I don't really want to put an essential question because I don't want to make it too elaborate. Topic. How about that? The topic is average rate of change across an interval. The interval is represented with brackets A and B. Both of these are x values, okay? These are x values. Typically, this will be your low number, and this will be your high number. The average rate of change is the change in y over the change in x. They're both x values. So when it's asking you to find the average rate of change across the interval, all it wants to know is what is the slope between this point and that point. And the slope is the change in y over the change in x. Give you a minute to write that down. I don't even think we'll have a full page of notes today. That's my goal. But we never know. We'll see how this goes. All right, moving on in 5. Moving on in 4. Moving on in 3. Raise your hand if you need more time. Okay? Yes. The low number and the high number. So it might be the interval from 2 to 6. Which means that on the coordinate plane, you'll be looking from here to here. All right? Y'all ready? Here we go. I am going to start this assignment, and the first function, I am going to type it here in Desmos. It says f of x, I can use y. So I'm going to type y equals negative x squared minus 6x minus 2. Now, the interval that we need, I need to go up here and I need the table of values for it. So I pressed settings and I went to, what did I do? Settings and then table. Oh, that's different from this plus sign. That plus sign is to create your own table. The settings is to insert the table for the function that you have. That comes through practice. Okay, now, the interval that I am looking for specifically for my problem is negative 8 to negative 7. So I think I'm going to come right here and I'm going to type in negative 8 and I am going to type in negative 7. So my problem is looking at the interval on the x-axis from here at negative 7 to here at negative 8. So I need to know what is the rise and the run of just this portion of the function. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to calculate. All right. First step. Let me start over. All right, close all this out. I'm going to type in my function. Y equals negative x squared minus 6x minus 2. Then I'm going to press the settings and the table. I need the interval from negative 8 to negative 7. All right? It came from my problem right here. Okay, now I'm going to calculate the change in y over the change in x. The change in the y values is going from negative 18 to negative 9. So whatever direction you move in, if I'm going from the top to the bottom on my y, I need to go from the top to the bottom on my x. So I'm going to calculate the change in y, which is negative 18 minus negative 9. That's the slope formula. Real quick, here's the slope formula, the change in the y's over the change in the x's. Alright, so put that over, oops, make sure it does it right. I guess I need to put it in parentheses. Divide by negative 8 minus negative 7. I got a change of 9. So the slope of this interval from negative 7 to negative 8, that slope is 9. That means I can go up 9 spaces and over 1. And that'll be the average rate of change from here to there. So I type in my answer as 9 and I'm going to check it. Voila, I got it right. We have to do 2 of each one. Alright, so here I go to the next one. Another quadratic. So I'll delete this. I'll delete that. I'm going to type in (3) x squared minus 7. I'll go to settings, table. I'm looking for negative 3 to 7 on my problem. I do not have any of those on my table, so I'm going to type in negative 3 and I'm going to type in 7. Now, let me record this into my notes for, purposes, good purposes of reviewing. I'm going to first write down the problem, and this will be the only example that I put in my notes. Alright, so I'm going to write down f of x equals 3x squared minus 7, and then I'm going to put bracket negative 3, 7 on my paper. So here's what I have on my paper. I know that I go to Desmos and I enter the function. Once I enter the function, I am going to press settings and then table. After I press settings and table, I enter the low and the high for x. That's going to give you your y value. After you have those two values, we calculate so let's say like this is the table of values with your x and your y. You're going to calculate the change in the y over the change in the x. So you'll do, and it's okay, like I would probably say y2 minus y1 over x1 minus x2, and that's fine. You can say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 as long as you keep it consistent. The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's still the change in y over the change in x. All right, moving on in 5. Moving on in 4. Anybody still need more time with this? Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to write this down. All right, we're going back to the assignment. You ready, Darius? All right, here we go. So I'm at 3x squared minus 7, and I'm looking at the interval between negative 3 and 7, which means that I am going to calculate 20 minus 140 over, and look how it typed it in my look how it typed it on my computer. That's wrong. You got to use those parentheses. Over. So I did 20 and 140. I'm going to do negative 3 minus 7. And I get an answer of 12 as the rate of change between that interval. So I'm going to type in 12 and check my work. Yay, yay. Okay, same type of problem except we have the graph this time. Since we have the graph, we don't have to type in the equation. We don't need the table of values. We need to find the ordered pairs that we need from the graph. Alright, so my interval is negative 6 to 0, Now I will do this though. Like I will put -6 to 0. And at -6 I see -79. And at 0 I see -1. I got those values from my graph over here. Alright, now I'm going to calculate the change in the, I need my parenthesis. The change in the y. Don't forget now, I got a double negative. So the minus sign is in the formula. Keep it in the formula. So I'm going to bring that minus sign with a -1. And I'm going to put that over -6 minus 0. Oh, why am I putting it in the table? That's what you meant? I don't know. Mistake. Try that again. Parenthesis, -79 minus -1 over -6 minus 0. I get 13. My answer is 13. All right, now, are there any questions on what I'm doing? All right, I think there's one more type of problem, so I'm going to walk through this one as well. I'll walk through it, but I'm not going to talk through it. All right, so here's my problem. My values are 0 and 9. All right, here's 9 up here. I think that's 196, 186. All right, so 9 and 186. And then my other one I'm looking for is 0. So I got 0 and -3. All right, we're going to calculate the rate of change between these two intervals. I'm going to put my parenthesis, 186 minus -3 over 9 minus 0 again, and I get 21. 21. I hope my next answer is 6, 7. Oh, look! Wow! Look what interval I got. 6, 7. That's crazy. All right, 6, 7. Here we go. Definitely gonna post this video. I might title it 6, 7. Yeah. This one's going to be titled Day 3, 6, 7. Or maybe I should do 6, 7, Day 3. Yes, 6, 7, Day 3. That'll be more popular. All right, 6, 7. From 6 to 7. Uh-oh. Okay, you're doing too much, Robinson. You're doing too much. 6 is 153. 7 is 198. The change is going to be 153 minus 198 over, I got to keep the same order, 6 minus 7. Look at that, 45. Okay, 45. Check my work. Indeed. Okay, I should be down to my last 2 problems. I am. All right, 3 to 6. Here I go. I feel like I'm a pro now, so I'm not going to type these ordered pairs. I'm just going to type my answers. 3 to 6. You tell me what I should type. $38. You think that's wrong? Oh, you say you finished? I'm finished too. All done. Thank you for participating today.